welcome in and happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Just Jump In live stream. As always, let me know if you can hear me, as that is my Achilles heel with these live streams. Looks like we do have a couple people in the chat already. Welcome. Hey, Randy, welcome in. Hi, Mom. Thanks for spending our inheritance. Appreciate it. Hi, Gopher Girl. Welcome in. Hope you are cooking dinner and haven't smelt anything yet, but looking forward to it. And if you're out there, let me know, say hi. And then if you're just lurking in the background doing some work on your layout or something, go back to it, but just make sure to say hi and let me know that you're here. I love to know who's joining us. Also, let me know what you're working on, because I know everybody's working on something, whether it's hobby related or not. That's what happens. It's on a weekday. Somebody's doing something all the time. I did some digging on the issue I've been having with the camera drop, and I did do an update on the computer settings. So hopefully that does the trick. We'll see if we make it the full show without a drop of the camera. That would be nice. I don't have extra USB items plugged in, but that can sometimes take up resources. My Yeti mic is plugged in, and then my mouse is plugged in, and that's it. I actually only have 3 slots, and I usually plug in a hard drive that contains all my pictures and things. But we will see how it goes. Hey, Ken, welcome in. Static grass. All right. What what static grass applicator do you use? Do you use the Woodland Scenics one? Do you use one like I think it's WW Scenics has one out there? Do you make your own out of a fly swatter? Hey, Wigwag, welcome in. Appreciate you coming in. I didn't know Rick would be done that quick, but glad you're in here. Which means he kicked you out of his. So, welcome, Bill. Welcome in. Exactly. Just jump in. That's what I want you all to do. So, if y'all actually saw the thumbnail, I've mentioned this before on live streams. When I finish a project like this one, and we'll do this. We'll take this out because those out. I'll kind of do that. When I finish a project like this, I tend to have this malaise that comes over me, and I have trouble getting started on other stuff. And as you notice in the thumbnail, I had a lot of things going on that I was doing. I was jumping from thing to thing. For one, it keeps me going and doing stuff. And 2, I make very small incremental moves, on different projects. So I'll certainly go over some of those and show you what I've been working on. And let's see. So, hey, Bob, welcome in. John number 2, happy birthday. Welcome in. Tom, welcome. So, thanks, Randy. Appreciate it. I debated whether I should cut up the decals on here all throughout and do them individually. But this set here is one, and this set here is one, because they were already set in place the way they should look. And sorry, I keep moving the camera on you. So I appreciate that. This takes a lot of patience, decals, and that's one thing I don't have a lot of. So, so I appreciate noticing that and all, and hopefully that'll get noticed on the finishing piece. And funny. So Bill, is that the brand? Is it America? Is that the SCAL brand? And do those often not come with instructions, or is it just the kit that you got that didn't come with instructions? All right, so let's see. If you look at the thumbnail that, let's see here. If you look at, oh, where did you go? I hate this mouse. Okay. Stop. What the heck's happening here? Stop. All right. Let's see if we can. So let's take a look at the things on the thumbnail. So there's the modules. And so I got those upstairs. I think we talked about that last time. And I took all the track off. I took, there was a lot of ballast on there. I got that taken care of. And the roads, which I really, really like the roads, but I wasn't going to get rid of those. I wasn't going to be able to do anything with those. So both modules kind of stand as is. The problem here is on some of these, the tops, the holders for the legs were temporary or were attached more to the bottom of the board that was going across, or they've kind of cracked. So what I think I'm going to do is cut pieces of the board, which is, I think it was a 1/2 inch thick MDF board. And I'm going to cut them the size of each of these holders, and the holders hold the legs. The legs are 2 by 2. And so they hold in there, and to make sure that they don't go all the way through, I'll attach pieces of the board, the MDF board, to the top of those. And then I'll put the foam board on top, or the foam, sorry, not the foam board. I have the 1 inch insulation foam, and I'll just shave off the little bit that I need to get over top. And then I thought about originally moving down the center supports, but they're slightly lower. I won't need to do that. And again, I can cut those corners, and it could sit a little bit lower, and I think it'll be fine for my needs. So I think I'll be fine there, but I haven't moved on that. Interesting. It wasn't produced with instructions. Well, good job picking a hard one to jump into. But for sure. So I'll get to the online hobby shop piece, but like I said, put your favorite one in the chat or after the show in the comments. That's going to help me because this is show number 99, so we're a week away from show 100. So I'll have to do some kind of retrospective, and then we're going to do a giveaway. And so that's why I need to know hobby shops that people like. And then we're going to choose the hobby shops that most people like. And if not, I'll by default choose them. And we'll get folks some gift cards or gift codes. I don't know what you call them when they're online. And we'll do a drawing and see if we can get some people to walk away with at least paying for their taxes and shipping on something they really want. So we'll do that coming up next week. Oh, even with instructions, Bill, I'm always out of order on how I do things. So good luck with that. You may end up doing everything in order because you don't have instructions. So the second picture down here, you see that is the underframe for the Intermountain kit. And so what I'm finding with the Intermountain kit is that this is not a super hard kit or anything. This is, I don't know if I would call it typical, but it is a kit that has, I would say, 3 basic pieces, and the rest are directions. So let's hide that for a second, and let's pull back here. So this is the base of the kit that I've gotten through so far. I am having trouble with this. This is not staying on. This is the second time I glued it, and you can see it's having trouble there, and I'll explain why. But basically, you have, okay, so it's 4 main parts. It's the shell, it's the bottom of the shell, it's 2 parts make up the underbody, and then you have this little cap here. The cap itself is 1 piece. These were a couple details, and then there'll be all kinds of grab irons that go on there. The brake parts are already part of the center sill here, but the center sill is all the cross supports and the center beam, and then the walkway is 1 piece. And unfortunately, there were these pieces, these supports here came with this, which is part of the wrap that goes around, and then a plastic piece underneath that goes into the body. That, when I was pulling them off the sprues, was so thin and so easily just bumped, and it broke off. But it has a sort of a rounded underside there that is easy to glue on. So I was able to do that. One of the pieces here broke off from handling, and that's why I don't like doing small details like that until it's time to do details, because I tend to make them disappear into the abyss on the floor. Okay. And so the instructions here are really pretty simple. There are some additional ones, but literally it's 4 things. It's putting the body together, putting the underframe on, starting the body details, and then finishing with the trucks and couplers. So that was my introduction to Intermountain. I had never done their kits before, and so I wanted to try it. Had the opportunity to get this one relatively cheap. What I don't look forward to are plastic grab irons and things. Those you're definitely going to have when you do, even with pre-drilled holes, you have to take their advice and widen these. If you don't, you're going to break every one of these trying to put them in. So I took that advice and I started that. So that I was working on that. And then next up, from the model perspective, is a GP35 shell. At our local hobby shop, I got this GP35 kit. Well, not a kit, but it has all the detail parts in packages here and everything. So I'll be able to add those. This was white, so you can see. I mean, maybe it's easier. Nope, that has maybe a little bit easier here, but it was white, a white kit, a white shell. So I took some of that Badger Model Flex, which is thinned for airbrushing, and use their Conrail blue. We can all argue over the blues, and I know blues are a hot topic for some folks in the chat. But looking at this, this is 2 coats. I could certainly put more on. I could try and darken it some, but the honest truth is, when you look at all the pictures out there of Conrail equipment, the blues all look different based on the lighting of the day, the lighting that was used by the photographer. It's going to be all kinds of blues. So, when I bought this actually for the motor, I was going to use the motor for one of the locomotives I was building, but I decided that I'm not going to do that at this point because I need a thinner motor, and that's a project later on that will come up on a live stream at some point that I got some advice on, and I have to find the right motor, but it's got to be a very small flat motor for where it needs to go. So yeah, Bill, the blues are all over the place for what they were painted. And then all the pictures that you take, all the pictures that are taken have different colors. Depends on the weather, depends on the weather, how weathered the engines are, or the locomotives are. But anyway, so I'm using the Conrail blue that I have. And so I painted that up this week, put 2 coats on, and I can update that as needed. I happen to, in a separate, I don't know if you call it a separate incident, but at one of the conventions, one of the Thousand Lake Region conventions, I ended up winning this. This was donated by our very own Art Sewell, who is our region president and fellow Twin Cities member. So I have another one. So if I need, the engine works on this one as well. So if I really need another engine or need to use the engine on one of the other scratch built ones that I do, I have this one. I lost, this is on the floor somewhere, but it's under a pile of junk probably somewhere. So I got to find where that one fell off of and to. And if I can find the side cover for that as well. But this one will be my parts one if needed. The shells are very similar. They're a slightly different one. This is Blue Box from Athearn. And it actually uses this over here. You can see it on here. It is solid. Here it's hollow because it uses it to keep the chassis on. So just some small differences. This one, the fuel tank area with this extra piece here is much more looks like a tank than this one does. So just little things, but no biggie. Have that extra one there. So I did some painting. Then let's see here. Iron Planet Hobbies. Rick is a good one, and if we do, if you buy from Iron Planet Hobbies, Heath from Human City has a discount there, so you can take, I think it's a 10% discount if that's still active, and you can take you can get some extra off of that too. So another reason to win something if we do it from there. So I just found, Randy, I just found a place that was discounting tons. It's a place that has 2 stores in Arizona and then an online presence. And it's more of a Warhammer type of outlet. But they have Vallejo paints, and they had these sets at incredible discounts, but they were trying to clearance them out, and they don't have them in stock anymore, which is unfortunate. They had like a set of like 72 colors, a basic set of 72 colors, and of game color paints, and had all of it had their varnishes, and it had some thinner, and it was like a $250, $279 set, and they had it for like $108. And unfortunately, I checked, it was out. I would have gotten that, even though I don't need them. All that stuff, I'm going to need it at some point. That was a great price, and they generally had everything on sale. The only problem there is you end up paying for shipping, so you have to make it worth it that way. If you're just buying 1 or 2 paints, it's not that worth it. Parts eating carpet, yes. I have a parts eating carpet, and it's eaten everything. And so I need a bib here for my shirt that overlaps the table here, so that parts just roll onto the table instead of off onto the floor. If anybody has an insight into that. So the last one on the top here is a mess of a Cato engine, and that will actually lead into the bottom where we have those gears. The gears are cracked on this, and I found out by contacting Cato that, or Cato, depending on which group you support. They don't support it. They don't make those gears anymore, so you can't order them. So, uh, hey, right? Yeah, I love when Spring Creek comes around to the Twin Cities to the shows there. They always come around to the shows. It's always mom and dad that are there from that group, and they love the shows and they love talking and they have a great setup. And so I've bought many times from them and haven't been down to their shop or their shows that they put on, but uh, um, definitely, um, definitely worth a trip if you can get there to see them at the shop. And if now I know they were working on their website, I will tell you that I stopped looking at their website a while back. It just didn't function very well. I wasn't very happy with it, but I was happy to see them at the shows. So they keep saying they've worked on it. I've gone back. It seems kind of the same. So hopefully, let's try that again. So hopefully they've fixed it, and we'll have to check that out again. Um, Squadron, we'll have to check that one out as well. Um, it's amazing how different the shipping prices, Bob. They are all over the place for your basic shipping and even your expedited shipping. The prices just I don't know why they're so different, but they are. So I promised that I would try to make gears. So the one that I don't have the ones that wore out, and it's these gears, which are the idler gears because they have the extra gear as part of them. But here are two makes that I did. Let's probably help get in there. And I have a filament printer. Here is one of the original gears, one of the original regular gears. So there are three of these and an idler gear in each wheel set. So I was able to make. Here's the one I made. It has a very flat end on one of them and kind of rough end on the other. And the plate I used was a textured plate. Well, it would help if I'm on camera here. It was as a text. So you have the flat plate here, or the flat side here. And then I happen to be using a textured plate that day. I have a flat plate, so I don't think that'll be as much of a problem. And just to kind of give you a look at both of them. So what you're going to see here, what's difficult with the gears is the teeth on the gears. When there's a lot of teeth, I could try keeping the same size gear. I could try to increase the size of decrease the overall. Oh, there it goes into the abyss. I'm on the floor. And that's a working gear, so I have to find that. Hopefully that didn't fall into the garbage, which is totally possible. That's why I need somebody to find me some one of those silicone bibs that they have for the kids. I need, but it's got to come down over to here so that I don't have to lean up against here. And that rolled off to the side anyway, so that doesn't help, but yay. So now I got to find that. But essentially what I'm saying here is with a filament printer, it's going to be very hard unless I can increase the size of the gears without increasing the size of the edges of the gears. So I might reach out to somebody to try and print these in resin to see if that makes a difference because of the different printing process. It's potentially, since it can print more detail in resin, potentially I can get the gear teeth that I need. The same thing happened on these, where the teeth are fine on these idler gears for the smaller gear, but the teeth around the edges didn't form very well. So it's still worth the try. It's still worth trying to find that, because all that I'm going to end up having to do, if I find another one of the exact engines, I'm going to have to buy the whole engine just to get gears that work. It's not worth it. So that would be exactly my problem. Is I would end up everything would go flying, and that wouldn't be good. That would totally not work for me, because they would go absolutely everywhere. So some of the other projects I'm working on. Hey, John, have a great weekend. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. I know it's it's late for one of mine. So again, thanks for stopping in. So one of my other busy bee projects, as I work on projects for 3D 3D projects for dollhouse miniatures for my mom. I decided I was in, let's see here. Michael's has a line of some of it's wood, most of it's wood, some of it's plastic dollhouse miniatures. And then I saw a little packet of detail parts, and they were actually, hey, Art, I was showing the engine earlier, that the HO scale engine that I won at one of the conventions. That was one of your donations, and appreciate that. So they had this this countertop stove, and so I'm like, that's all basic shapes. I could totally recreate that. And so I set out to start to recreate that. So I started on that process, and I found out something about me that was kind of interesting for those of you who do 3D model and print. I tend to try and make everything out of one shape instead of making multiple shapes and then putting them together. So I run into problems that somebody who maybe does different parts. Let's see here. See if we can pull it up here, if I can find it. So let's see if we can get a better picture for you of it. Let's see here. So this unit, basically there's going to be a hood in here. It's going to have some dials on this thing. It's going to have an oven here. Those are all separate parts. These shelves in here that I've started to create are a separate part. The burners that I'm working on are a separate part. The countertop is a separate part. I don't know why I'm trying so hard to make things all out of one shape. And I run into a lot of problems when I'm designing stuff. And so I've got to learn to make parts. Like I can make these at the top are going to be 3 open shelves on one side, 3 open shelves on the other. There's no reason I couldn't make one of those and duplicate them and attach them. There's a process for that. The countertop was added. The burner section was added. Yep, Bob, you're correct. So that's what I'm running into. The other thing that I have trouble with Onshape is making curved items. So if I want to make like a shelf bracket that has kind of ironwork on it, or let's say a bench, an outdoor bench that has kind of a leaf design in the iron or whatever, I have a problem with making those happen. So one of the things I decided to try was to go into Tinkercad and relearn some of the stuff I learned in there to see if I can make better curvatures on things. And it's a hell of a learning curve to go back to that. But that's something that I'm doing. So if we come back out of this, I'll show you. I created in Tinkercad, I created a couch. Now this is a very thin couch, and I just did this. I printed this. I cut the bottom off because I didn't need to print all that extra stuff because the shape is the same. So in Onshape, I could very easily do the curves on these arms and around the edges and things. But to design something like this with a curvature, I haven't figured that one out very well in Onshape. But I was able to do this by mixing shapes. These were a disaster. I was trying to do some kind of pillow type of seating area. But again, a first try. So I was working on that for one night. I think I was up, and Gopher Girl told me I had to go to bed. I was actually sitting downstairs working on the computer, hanging out, and she yelled at me to go upstairs because it was past my bedtime. So I had to do that. So I'll continue to work on this and see if I can learn how to do nicer curvatures and nicer designs. When I on here, I'm gonna see if I can. I hate this mouse. Let's try. Let's go back over. Let's try it on here. Let's move it. Oh, I really hate this mouse, and the scroll wheels never worked correctly. Let's stop there. Stop. Okay. So now I had to do the trim on this. This was relatively easy to me to do in Onshape. Again, that's just one simple command to do those things, and you do them in pieces. So I kind of did an L shape, and then I curved those edges. But if I wanted, let's say this had a design on top, one of those classic designs where it had kind of those things that swirl inward like waves and then have like a centerpiece here that's rounded and everything, I'd have a lot of trouble with that level of design. So yeah, and hey, Bill, were you born in Philadelphia, or you just live there now? Because you would see, I'm sure you would see plenty of that along, and it's definitely the PRR along around your area. So the couch and the stove I've been working on. And then I've been working on another project for my mom, who is scale averse. She works in a scale business, but oftentimes has difficulty with scale. So so I set out to give her some of her scale and our scales, and you'll have to forgive. I don't know. We're gonna have to give these guys a name, and we'll have to forgive this guy. I printed him somehow with the head separate from the body, but that's if you can't see it along here. I wish you could, but this is 6 inches, so 6 inches to a foot for dollhouse miniatures. This one is 1/24. That's half scale, so then they end up being 3 inches. Then this little guy, let's see if we can line him up here. This little guy is 1/48, so your O scale guys. Then this little guy is our Hot Wheels size. It's 1/64. Bathroom door guy. That's a good name for him. And then here is bathroom guy in HO scale. And then N scale. If I scaled them all correctly, which I think I got them close. So I'll be able to send this out to her. I wanted to, he's a little small to do it, but I wanted to put just like a string or something through their heads. Maybe I'll do it through their chests so they all stay together so she can look at them together. But she can take this, she can really weird out some people at her dollhouse miniature shows and pull this out and really freak them out and put it up next to the miniatures to confirm which scale they had. But it's always a question, so I'm gonna go ahead and send these out. I'll probably reprint this guy. He's a little rough and has no head, or maybe I'll just glue them together. I was thinking of just putting a little maybe styrene rod on the back of his head and call him Bionic Bathroom Guy. Yep. I know you know your scales. But we talk every Sunday, and every Sunday she asks me about scale. And so she probably still will, and that's fine. But hopefully this will help her out. Because I think she's always surprised at HO scale size stuff, because let's see here, see how it looks in here. So here's our HO scale engineer. It's a little Tom. So there you go. So that was the other project I was finishing up, and I think I finished this one up last weekend pretty much, and was working on the other stuff. Keep you on your toes, Mom. I weird a lot of people out, and that's all good. So, and other than that, I've got to figure out why. I may be just so warm out that our upstairs is not getting as much air. Or maybe we need to change the air filter at this point, but it's super hot in this room. Minecraft, Tom. These guys are not square enough. Well, they're pretty square for them. So if we do that, that's your scales are. This is a toy train to these guys. You can't see the other ones, but you can see him on there. And this is our fellow S scalers. That's the Hot Wheels scale. An O scale, which is I think what I need to model in at this point with my eyes and hands. So yeah, what else do I have here? Here's a car. Now this potentially, so this is HO scale. It looks big standing next to it. It looks kind of big. This is a very compact car, I would say. I don't know if this one's quite to scale. Either that or my measurements are completely off. But it even looks a little big in the cab too. So this is how averse I was to moving on to the next car project, or moving back to the car projects that aren't finished, is I was thinking about painting each one of these and trying to give them personality, do some figure painting on them. And that didn't win out the day. But so yeah, so it's been an eclectic week of stuff. Of course, most of the weekdays I'm just working my stiff job, and sometimes doing some model railroading in between reports and yelling at my direct reports and all of those things. But that's the week in a nutshell. And again, so I will work on kind of a retrospective like I did for show 50. I'll try to do something with to present during the show. We'll figure out the giveaway. Look to see. Yeah, the car. I think that the car was a 5-pack. It was a newer company, and it was an offshoot company of another one. And they make really cheap stuff on purpose. They've tried to make it affordable, and they have those packs of cars. And I can't remember the name. It's 2 words. That's going to kill me that I can't remember. And I thought when I had them on my layout, my modules. They look small to me, like I had an 18-wheeler truck and really towered over it. So yeah, working does stink. And I just think that it's looking like I'm not one of the guys that's going to have a long retirement at all. Especially if my mom is out wasting my inheritance, or not wasting, she's having a good time, but losing money. Not a good thing. So hopefully she wins some. I haven't played the lottery either, so I'm not helping myself out. And would love to win one of those big lotteries, and then I can try and build a miniature Wonderland size layout if I win one of those things. But you got to be in it to win it. $1 well, it's $2 in a dream now. Whatever your slogan is. I'm doing it the slowest way I possibly can. But yeah. So I am starting to smell dinner that's coming around the corner here at some point soon. Oh, I've been sitting all day at work and I really hadn't gotten up much. Fridays, I get a lot of actual paperwork stuff done because I don't have meetings Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's meetings all day and I get nothing done. And then I get yelled at by my boss. But from a dollhouse miniaturist, and it's not just from this person, but I've heard this lots, that they have these string lights out here. This one takes 2 AA's, and it's something she used something very similar to this for one of a cabinet that she was making, or a display that she was making. And so I went over to my little dollar store just to walk around after work today, and I got this and stole some of my wife's batteries. And so this works pretty well. It's not super bright, but it works well. And, if you're putting this across, like, if there was lighting on the stove piece or something over top, you could have this you could build in kind of a view block to this. This one, again, it's a little thick because it takes AA instead of AAA batteries. But you could do kind of a view block and have this on top and have this strung, a couple of the lights strung just for the top, and have that come down, and you drill some holes in, and then you have the lights come through there. And so this was $1.50 at the Dollar Tree. And they had one that was multicolor and this one that is warm white. So I don't know, it's something that it would light a very small area, but you could, that I have tape on there, but it would do enough, I think, for effect on whatever you're working on. So I thought I'd try that out. So I picked that up in my big spending today. So no, you didn't need to wait for me. Just hopefully there's a steak left for me, or a half a steak, or a bite would be nice. Are the meetings about getting nothing done? No, the meetings are about doing stuff in a way that is going to make it harder. A way to make it harder to do things well. How's that? That comes from grumpy old Dan. I've been with this company for, it'll be 15 years this year. And I spend a lot of time now trying to tell them, let's not do it that way. Let's try something different. Or try to explain to them what the downstream impact is going to be. But we all know with companies, well, we don't all know, but if you've worked for a company that has lots of employees and lots of people doing the things that you're doing, and you have to collaborate, that bothers me. You have to collaborate with them. There's something called groupthink, and somebody will say we should do it this way, and then nobody speaks up and says, well, if we do it this way, this is going to happen. Maybe we should think about alternatives. And so when you have that, and that's pretty typical of corporate America, you have that, things are done poorly because the downstream impact wasn't really thought about. It was just thought about correcting one problem. So yeah, I'm a pretty grumpy guy when it comes to work. So I just know there are ways you can there's always ways you can do things better, and when you're trying to do something and you have clients and client relationships and they're your money, as a company, you want to fix things. And you can have a really good long relationship with the company and they let things go because they know you're going to fix it. But when they come back a year later and say, didn't we go over this last year? Didn't we have this problem last year? Those are the things that drive me nuts. And I just want to sit there and scream and say, try it a different way. Try this. Look at this. What's the impact? How can we make sure this doesn't happen again, instead of just putting the Band-Aid on? So anyway, I will leave you with that nice little rant, and say to everybody, stay warm. It's pretty, or stay cool. It's pretty warm out there and pretty warm in this room. And have a fantastic weekend. And thank you for coming along the ride with me. And yep, that's right, Bob. The hobbies are very helpful, but I'm at the point where the hobby's pulling me more than work's pulling me, but the work needs to be done because I need the money for the hobby. So, yeah. And I would be fine with it if things worked and you had this atmosphere where you were thinking about the downstream impact and you thought about all the things you could think about and you miss something. That's one thing. But when you do something without, anyway, I appreciate everybody coming along for the ride. Come back next week so we can celebrate 100 shows. And hopefully you'll be part of the giveaway and have a little something to go boost the hobby for you. And remember to just jump in and try something new. Everybody have a fantastic weekend.